Hey there, everybody. It's Chris Widener. Another episode of Revive Your Life. This will be a relatively quick one today. We're talking about reviving your money, bringing to life again your money. And one of the things we're going to talk about is that term, your money. Psalm 24:1. And this is what I typically do is I put a thought for the day about 8 a.m. Eastern on my LinkedIn profile. Then I come live later on in the day, usually at noon, but I have a lunch today, so I got to do it a little bit early. But Psalm 24:1 says, the earth is the Lord's and all that is in it. So if you want to revive your money, here's a great biblical lesson that you have to understand is it's not your money. Now, we typically teach in the church, well, you tithe, that's God's money. And then the other 90% is my money. But the reality is the other 99% isn't your money either. The tithe is a discipline that God puts us in order to submit ourselves to God and to show him that we trust him to provide for us. That's why God instituted tithing. He doesn't need the money. God owns everything. He owns cattle on 1,000 hills. He owns the universe. He owns, all the universes, all that kind of stuff. The best example that I've ever heard in regard to how we should perceive our money is that we are stewards. And we've all heard that. We're stewards of God's money. And we really are, because it's not our money. We're stewards of God's money. God lets us keep some and all that. But the best illustration of this, or the best analogy maybe, is one of being a banker. So if I have $10,000 and I walk into a bank and I say, here's $10,000. Please put it in my account, and it goes into that account. It's my money. Now they're watching it, they're investing it, they're loaning against it, they're charging me fees for using the bank, they're earning interest off of what they loan it out for, and then they're paying me a little bit of interest. So maybe, a savings account, you get 2%, but they're loaning it at 8%. But it's my money. I can walk back in at any given time and I can say, hey, I need that $10,000 back, and I take that $10,000 back. They are a steward. They're the one who watches over and takes care of and distributes and utilizes and all those kinds of things. That's what we are as Christian business people, is we are simply stewards of God's money. So if you want to get right with God and your business and your money, the first and foremost thing you have to understand is it's not your money. You are a steward of God's money. So how does that practically affect us? So we receive income or distributions, or however you get your money. God is putting it on loan to you, or he's depositing it into your bank, so to speak. Now you have to be a good steward, right? And so the first 10% goes right back. Goes back to God, goes to your local church, goes to ministry, and that's the first 10%. But that's an act of discipline and obedience with God. Now, what happens to the other 90%? Just like a banker, banker takes a salary. I put $10,000 in, and a whole bunch of other people put $10,000 in. They're charging interest, so they're loaning it out. They're utilizing it. Some of that interest comes back, and it pays the salaries of the people in the bank. It pays the tellers, pays the branch manager, pays the bank's VPs and the corporate offices. All that kind of stuff comes out of how they're utilizing it and growing the money. So with us, some comes in, 10% goes out. We pay ourselves, we pay our bills, we go on vacation, whatever it is that we do and how we spend the money, as God allows us to do that. I know it's not a perfect analogy, but it's a pretty good analogy, I think, to just understand that we are stewards of God's money. So the important thing is for you to go to God and say, God, I recognize today this is not my money. It's your money. Lead me and show me how to use your money that's under my care and under my stewardship. It'll revolutionize your life. It'll revolutionize your business. It'll revolutionize your family. It will revolutionize and revive your money. So if you're looking for a little bit of coaching, if you say, you know what, I've gotten to this level, I need a breakthrough, I need somebody who's gone through it, somebody who's been there, done that, I've had an amazing career, and at this stage of my life, I'm really focusing more in on coaching and helping particularly younger people. If you're between the ages of 30 and 45 specifically, I'd love to work with you. I had so many great mentors when I was growing up. Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, John Maxwell, a lot of great corporate executives, senior executives at Mars Candies and AT&T and Prudential and Exxon. All those folks just really poured themselves into me when I was a younger man. And that's what I'm doing right now is I'm building a coaching program specifically for people who want to take a holistic approach to coaching. So it's not just business, but it's business and faith and marriage and relationships. You want to take your life and faith and business to the next level. All you have to do is go down there. You can see it at the bottom, chriswidenercoaching.com, chriswidenercoaching.com, and it'll tell you a little bit about it. You can enter your name and email, etc., and get a free 30-minute consultation. I do them for free. We get on a Zoom and we talk about you and where you're going, what you want to do. And if I can help you, I'll tell you that. If I can't help you, I'll tell you that too. It doesn't make any sense to be in a business relationship with people unless you're both getting something out of it. So jump on over to chriswidenercoaching.com. And remember, if you want to revive your money, you have to understand it's not your money. It's God's money. Take care and have a great day. Bye.